Hey everyone, welcome to Be the Change. My name is Lily Mott, and today's episode is about how change comes when you see things on the brighter side. I am so thrilled to share this episode with you today because this guest is doing incredible work, and on top of everything she already does, she just launched her new podcast on Be the Change Media Network. Nika Stastny is pursuing her PhD in global health, and she's now the host of Global Health Talks on the Brighter Side, which is a podcast featuring conversations with global health professionals across different fields. It was so great to talk with Nika, so without further ado, let's dive right into this episode featuring Nika Stastny.
So my name is Nika. I'm a PhD student in global health, originally from Croatia, and currently I have to say living my best life in Barcelona by working as a PhD student here. It's something that I wanted for a really long time. It took a while to get here, about a year, after uni, but it really feels like everything kind of clicked right now. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. And for everyone just listening, because I'm too lazy to record video, big smiles all around here. So I'm excited to chat with you, Nika. Can you tell me about what got you started with wanting to pursue, we'll go with a PhD, but I think just this field in general, because I think it's so cool. So tell me about what led you to this.
Yeah, of course. Starting, well, from earlier years, from high school, when no one knows what they're gonna be when they grow up, you just kind of just follow what's the most interesting subject for you. And for me, it was biology. I knew that I wanted to continue with that. Went to a university in Netherlands that was very research oriented, realized I love that in general. Just, I love science. I just love science. I genuinely think it's just so much fun. Like, I don't know, like reading research articles and knowing that there's always something else to discover. I don't know, I just enjoyed my university, like genuinely, the entire bachelor, but still had no idea what to do with it. Because, yeah, you cannot just read the research articles for fun and all. And I guess then the time came when it was a bit more, okay, well, there's so much nice things to do, but I just really have to find something that speaks to me and that I can make into a career. And, like it's always this soul searching period, but then something just clicks. And for me, it was this moment when I wanted a bit of break from Netherlands and I saw a vacancy for an internship in the Caribbean. And to be frank, for the first time when I saw it, it was like, well, I just want to go to the Caribbean. And then I had an interview to get the internship, and honestly, it was just the coolest research project. And it was a research project in global health. It was on pediatric infections. So the fact that I was able to go to a Caribbean island and actually do the research that sounded incredible was kind of a dream come true at the moment. I did go. It was quite rough in in many ways, but that's when things clicked for me, and that's what inspired me to do my next internship in global health. That's why I came to Barcelona. Here I work at an institute for global health. It was my first experience working at really an institution that only does that, and I just never felt so much that I belonged somewhere. And I knew immediately that I wanted to stay. And you said about the PhD, it wasn't a dream of a PhD. It was just a dream to stay there, honestly, and to work on the projects that I was working on. What we're working on is developing diagnostic devices for low middle income countries, mostly focusing on pediatric infections. So yeah, it's a great team and it's a really, really beautiful project. So all I wanted to do was stay, and PhD was a way to be part of that and continue learning. So that's how it all clicked.
I love that. That is such a beautiful story, and I love the idea of continuing learning. I think that that's wonderful. Now, let's talk about the podcast because that is the exciting next step, extra step, I guess, of all of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, you would be surprised that I just didn't feel busy enough with my PhD. And it was kind of like it just happened when I started the PhD. As I said, even though it feels like a lot of things clicked, at the same time, I felt a bit lost with a bit, again, everything where this could go, maybe a bit overthinking about what comes next, which is absolutely wasn't necessary. The desire to do the podcast came from multiple sources. One of them is that I listened to a podcast myself that was about global health, and it had these wonderful conversations that helped me feel better about where I'm at, that we can choose so many different paths. Knowing like, okay, there's a podcast that made about global health that made me feel better, interviewing global health professionals, and then realizing that I'm surrounded by these amazing people just within my team. I had a coffee with a colleague in the beginning of my PhD, and he was telling me how when he was, I don't remember the specific country that he was in at the moment, but it was one of the more poor African countries, and saying how much they were lacking resources. So he was making these things that help children breathe when they have asthma, that he was making out of plastic bottles. And I was thinking, well, just the person that I'm having coffee right now for my team has so many incredible stories to tell. And if I can provide a platform for that, how cool would that be? Because people would get to listen to I like to say unsung heroes, but that's how I see it in my eyes, really. And at the same time, I give the spotlight to the people that I think really, really deserve it.
I love that. And I'm so glad that then we connected because I get to be a small part of this journey with you, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to know a little bit about your first episode. Who are you featuring on the first episode? And for everyone listening, by the time you're listening to this first episode will be live, so you can go listen to
Yes.
that. But Nika, tell me about the first episode.
Yes, it feels so unreal. You saying that it will already be live. But yeah, it felt incredibly unreal when we connected. Thank you so much for being my main accountability buddy and for supporting me through this.
A small part, yes.
It counts a lot. Wow, really, really. And every step just, yeah, made it feel more real, and that I'm actually gonna do it. So the first episode actually I connected with Dr. Tamara Giles Wernick. She's an anthropologist. I connected with her in a symposium, which was also just, this podcast really has given me the courage also to just approach people that I found interesting. So whether they're gonna be my guest on a podcast or not doesn't matter. I just feel like it gives me such a extra push to approach them and to connect with these wonderful people. Truly, so her background is actually, it's really interesting what she does, because her topic, her field of work is very similar to mine, which is focusing on infectious diseases in sub-Saharan African countries, but she's looking at it from very anthropological lens. So she's really interested in how it all came about throughout history and through more of a social sciences perspective. So it was just wonderful to hear about also how she got into it. Like, she has really, really interesting background. Also, one of the first people that even started like having this anthropological unit for infectious diseases. So it was just truly, truly inspiring listening to her.
Yeah, I got to have a sneak peek and I absolutely loved it. We're recording this before the episode is live, so now you get to go listen. That is so wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the guests that you will have on the upcoming episodes? Don't give everything away, but if you can share any sneak peeks for people listening.
Of course, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have to say about just the pick. The goal was now to have the 6 episodes for the first season. Mission accomplished, and I'm just so excited about the 6 episodes. Because I got to interview 6 such diverse people in their fields. Each so incredible, so interesting, doing such amazing things, but truly, truly different. But then again, if you listen to it, really, kind of the same at heart. I don't know. I hope that doesn't sound too cliche. But yeah, you're gonna be really hearing from more of a social justice perspective, from a person that started their own volunteer organization, a person that is fighting climate change through her power and talent of storytelling. I'm really, really excited for everyone to listen to it.
That is awesome. I'm so excited for everyone to listen as well. Uh, can you tell me a little bit about what made you so passionate about? I'm going to preface this for everyone listening that Nika feels very nervous to talk about the change that she's making, which I think is funny because, of course, this podcast is all about, how we make change. Is there maybe a person or something that you think a lot about that motivates you to keep doing this work? Because I feel like you're kind of working in this space where you might always feel like there's more to be done, or
Mhm.
you're not doing enough, or there's all of these huge issues that you're tackling all the time. What motivates you?
there isn't a specific person. I get incredibly inspired by exactly why I'm doing this podcast, by the people that I want to interview. As I said, just by my team members. I had so much luck really with everyone I was collaborating also at university with my professors. But I think that the thing that keeps me going and why I have such a belief that I should be doing this and that everyone should get involved in their own way in elevating global health is just inequality we see all the time. I think we all know what I'm talking about here. It's this question always at the back of my head of like, why do I get to live this life while someone else can't? And it was a wonderful thing that was said by my supervisor. She did a little workshop for us. It was wonderful. And she was the first time that I heard that someone stating an idea how health is at the bottom of the pyramid to be able to get all these other things in life. And so first you have to take care of your health and those really, really basic needs in order to flourish intellectually and spiritually and to be able to focus on things in your life like love and friendship and how health is at the bottom of it. And she said if we can improve people's health, we can elevate other things going to the top of the pyramid, such as love, which again might sound a bit cheesy, but I thought it was one of the most wonderful things and such a beautiful motivation. Really, I think she really wanted to install it in us on the days that we might feel really drained from work and asking ourselves, is all this research and all these data sets and all writing the research papers and the deadlines, how many lives have we saved? That's why I say I feel nervous and very humble to speak about the fact that I'm making a change. We're trying to do our part in a process that's really long because it doesn't happen instantly.
That makes so much sense. And I do have to say, Nika, I feel like you have so many like small anecdotes, which is perfect for a podcaster. You have so many good little stories and quotes. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm already envisioning listening to future episodes of the podcast.
I'm
Um,
very much a quote person, truly. Like I do post-it notes, all around the room
I
with
love
little cute quotes. Yeah. It what keeps me going, truly.
I love that. I love that. That's a good thing. Great for a podcaster. Always on the lookout for sound bites. That's a good thing. So, my last question for you, and then I'm going to ask for how people can find you and support the podcast at the end. But my next question is, what advice would you want to share with young people who might want to get involved making change, but might not know how to do that?
Yeah, I told you I feel so nervous to answer this question. I want to be honest because I do feel at this point, who am I to say that? What am I doing? Truly, I'm gonna try to take your advice to not try to be too modest about who I am and what I am doing.
Yeah, brag about
Um,
Nika.
yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna say what I know. I think the best thing that I think we can do right now is try to connect with people, to always try to see the other side of the story. And yeah, not live, I guess, so individualistically. I think that's something that for me right now is, I think you say the North Star right now guiding me of trying really to create communities in which we help each other, not to be shy. Yeah, in connecting, I think everyone has so many, I'm not gonna say insecurities, but prejudice of how they might come out. And I think it's really the time to take a step out and speak your mind. And if you feel like there's a light or just like this passion project lying in you, what I found through my process is that a lot of people are willing to listen and a lot of people are going to cheer you on and they're going to be excited for you. So no matter how scary it seems, step by step, and I think everyone can get there.
I love that. I think that was wonderful advice. And I'm so glad that, yeah, when people are listening to this, it will have been live and the scariest part, hopefully, will have been done, which is awesome. Um, there's so many people who are going to support you on this journey as you've seen, Nika, but I think that's wonderful. So thank you. That was awesome. How can people listen to the podcast? How can people find you? What can they follow? Where can they look up the podcast? It'll be on all the streaming platforms, but mostly
Yes.
socials. How can people follow you on socials?
Yes. Please follow the socials. I just opened up my Instagram account. It's gonna called as the podcast called. I'm not sure if we introduced it. My podcast is called Global Health Talks on the brighter side. I think the Global Health Talk speaks for itself. It's gonna be interviews with global health professionals. And on the brighter side, well, just hoping to put some positive note to amazing work that people are doing. So that's exactly how the Instagram will be called as well. So follow Global Health Talks podcast. And yeah, like you're gonna see all the when episodes are released, and I'm also just gonna try to inform you about what's happening in global health right now, and also try to, even though it may seem like the things that are happening in global health can be really devastating, I'm gonna also try to make it really motivating for everyone to see things really on the brighter side.
I absolutely loved talking with Nika and learning more about her work in global health. If you enjoyed listening to this conversation, you were in luck because Nika's podcast just launched. You can find Global Health Talks on the brighter side right now, wherever you're listening to this podcast. And I included that link in the description of this episode. As you head off to listen to Nika's podcast, please keep in mind that change comes when you see things on the brighter side. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and you can find Nika on Instagram and LinkedIn, and I include those links in the description of this episode. If you want to talk about anything I mentioned, please reach out to me by email at lily@bethechangepodcast.org or on Instagram at Be The Change Media Network. I'm working on expanding Be The Change Media Network, which means bringing you more inspiring stories from amazing guests and awesome hosts like Nika. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could leave the podcast a rating and a comment, because it will help these stories to reach, educate, and inspire more people. And I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Tune in for my next episode, but until then, be the change you wish to see in the world. Bye, guys.